Morning.
Morning.
I was just waiting. Think I'm okay. Are they back there?
Anthony? Yep.
I see a thumbs up.
Hey, April. Hey, Pat.
Yes, ma'am.
I can please, Pat. Thank you.
I was waiting for the PowerPoint to come on.
You should
Oh,
see
that
that.
is-
I don't know why, but thank you. You're only a friend, okay?
You want me to do it, or you got it? I got it, Mike, because they're gonna take a while to warm up.
Did more than once.
Yeah, they're gonna take a while to warm up.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, I'll just go ahead and proceed. Let's turn to Matthew chapter number 7 and the verses 12, and then we're also going to look at 2 Peter chapter number 1, verses 1 through 7.
It takes these,
Okay.
yeah, these are not LED panels. They're warming up though.
Okay.
But you,
Okay,
so Kevin,
yeah.
so what you see right in front of you,
Yeah.
this is what happened back there too. So
Yeah, I needed to. Okay, I'll just proceed without it. Okay, 2 Peter chapter number 1, verses 1 through 7, and then Matthew chapter number 7, verses 1 through 12. I have entitled this Bible study this morning, Virtue and Kindness. Virtue and kindness. So that's what we want to look at on this morning. And our class objective, if you will, lesson for this one is to just look at the value of Christians glorifying God by displaying virtue and kindness and doing this on a regular, habitual basis. Virtue and kindness, and being able to display this on a regular, habitual basis. What comes to your mind when you hear this in a work or in an organizational environment? Esprit de corps. What does that mean? It's French, yeah. It literally means spirit of the body. It is used to describe the work environment or environmental system with reference to morale. Now, in a work environment, morale can either be one or two. It can either be good or it could be bad. So when you look at that aspect of a work environment, and it's used a lot like in Fortune 500 companies, they often do that a lot. They want to talk in, they want to come in and talk about morale and want to make sure that everybody's morale is what? Good, up, because we don't want it to be. What happens in any environmental situation when morale is not good?
Production's down.
Production down? What else? Okay, so people are not as enthused to be in that work environment because they have no control over it, especially if they are a subordinate and you have supervisors and they make decisions and the supervisors are not either attuned or aware or capable of fixing the morale at that point. That's why it's so big, as you know, Pat, in the military. I mean, that means everything because these are people who ultimately you will be going into battle with potentially. You want to make sure the morale is good. So now let's translate that over into modern society, your community or your neighborhood, that community where you live. Things pretty good in your community? Do you even know your neighbors? Do you even talk to your neighbors? Do you invite them over to your house? Do they invite you over to their house? Do you know their kids? Do you know their grandkids? Do we? Okay. And I'm going somewhere with this. What about now in a congregational setting? Is it important to have morale? Is it important to have good morale? I have been in congregations where the morale has not been good. And let me tell you that, it was not fun. It should not be to this point, and I'm just being full disclosure here. There were Sundays where, I'm being honest, I didn't even want to go and preach that day. Don't talk about business meetings. There were congregations that I was at, I dreaded those because I knew how they were going to be. Morale was just not good. So what happens in a church environment though when morale is good? What happens when everything is good within the family of God like it should be? I'm sorry? Okay, and guys, if you can speak up just a little bit. So it grows, what else? Because this is going to play into our lesson on virtue. Now, I'm going to 2 Peter, and I know there's more there, but I only want to highlight virtue and kindness for a reason. But what happens when things in a congregation are good? People get involved. Okay, absolutely. How do they get involved? How do they get involved? They volunteer. I mean, it's rare, but sometimes you see people volunteer to go door knocking, to do evangelism, to do benevolence, to go visit. That's the esprit de corps. When the morale is good and when people enjoy, and it should be that way with Christians anyway, we should not be dreading Sunday. We should not be dreading Wednesday or whenever we assemble. And we should look forward to seeing one another. So let's look at that. Now, what comes to your mind when you think of the word virtue? And just describe it however you understand it. But what comes to mind, the word virtue? And guys, please, guys, speak up. You guys have louder voices when we're not in class, but in here you want to whisper. I can't hear you, okay? Speak up, please. Huh? Okay, virtue. Anybody else? Virtue. I'm sorry? Oh, okay, standard, okay. Some might call it a moral code. A lot of times it's described as moral excellence. Is there anything wrong with a Christian displaying moral excellence? Should we be displaying moral excellence? Okay, Matthew chapter number 5, 13 through 16, we're salt and we are also what? Last week in Bellefonte, I did a sermon on glorify, and I highlighted verse number 16, and we are to glorify God. That means we are to radiate his glory. It's not our glory, right? It's not our good works. We do good works, but whose good works are they? They're God's defined what the good works is, but when we do them, we glorify God. Brethren, what's wrong, especially in 2026, with Christians displaying moral excellence? Like I said, I am building up to something, so that's why I'm asking these questions now. Why? Yeah, well, because we got a lot of Christians who are acting like what have I heard people say? Well, I'm not a saint. I know, but I'm just telling I heard people say. In other words, what they're saying is, I'm only human. I'm only human, so, hey. Moral excellence. Okay, I'm going to come back to that virtue anyway. Kindness. What comes to your mind? Kindness. How would you just define kindness? And we can use the word kindness. Okay, a gentle spirit. Okay. Sister Jones, I'm gonna throw something after you if you don't speak up. No, I cannot hear you. I'm right here and I can't hear you. Okay. No, I'm gonna come to you. I'm just gonna come to you. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Someone that's being very warm,
Okay.
and kind, and open.
Got you.
Someone that's inviting.
Like you're being right now.
Like
You're being
I'm
kind.
inviting to-
Okay, all right. Okay, kindness. Warm. I'll come to y'all. Okay. Okay. Receiving, warm. April. Oh, absolutely. So we should be displaying it. What did you say, Norris? Gentle. Okay. All right. Oh, yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. So, virtue and kindness. Virtue is moral excellence. Kindness is another aspect of that. So I want us to look at that, but before I get a little deeper, brethren, we know if we look at our world today, are we seeing a lot of kindness? What did you say? What are we seeing a lot of? Say that again, Deanna. Absolutely. I mean, I know whether you're on social media or not, I'm not here to argue that, but I'm on it for various reasons. But I get on my feeds, I'm seeing a lot. Thank you, Deanna. I'm seeing just a lot. I mean, people, whether it's TikTok or whether it's Instagram or whether it's what used to be Twitter X or whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, aren't we seeing a lot of just horrible treatment? People getting angry with one another over just a parking spot at Kroger. Did y'all see that video? The two women, one woman got shot and killed over a parking spot at Kroger. Is there any parking spot anywhere in the world worth getting killed over? I mean, but this is things that are occurring, that is happening. Again, on one of my feeds, this was an airport security camera, and it was showing a mother and her child. Her child looked like they were about maybe 6 or 7, but the child had a disability. And so the child could not walk, so she had the child in a stroller, even though they were about 6 or 7. And so she was trying to go down the escalator with her child and the luggage, but she was having some difficulty getting on. So the security showed like 5 different people look at her, walk right past her, then offer no help. Then this one guy came along, and obviously it's on security camera. He said something to her which made her start to cry because apparently he was offering to help. And so he told her, whatever he told her, she got down the escalator with her child. He carried her luggage and he carried the carriage, I guess, that the child was in. Now, that random act of kindness touched her so much that she started crying. Why did she start crying? Is that because maybe people don't just be kind? And is kindness so rare now? Is that the rare thing?
Because people, yes.
Thank you. Okay, y'all, Sister Joan?
I was gonna say that we can act of kindness, but we're so fearful because we don't know how the other person will receive it. I didn't actually have me. We have a lot of that.
Well, okay, that's true. Some people don't know how to receive kindness, and so they don't know how to properly react. But kindness and virtue, those are things that we should have as children of God. Instead of, we see a lot of this, don't we? What are these pictures of? Okay, let me ask you, does anybody look kind in these pictures? So,
There's a war between those two.
yes. Yeah, now we don't, okay, these are just images here, we don't know what precipitated it, but should we, I call it, they call it conflict. Well, Keith Mosier doesn't like to use the word conflict resolution, okay? But how about conflict de-escalation? What does that mean? And we're keeping it in tie with virtue and kindness, and then as Christians, our jobs as Christians. What is conflict in your mind de-escalation?
Being listening to someone, having the ability to listen.
Okay.
The ability to just stand back and just, as our parents used to say, count to 10 before you speak.
Okay. So you want to de-escalate a situation because you don't want to be like this or this. I'm pointing at the screen back here, but you don't want to be like this. So where does virtue, remember virtue is moral excellence? And some people don't like to use the word moral excellence as Christians because they have been told by society, oh, you think you are what? Better than I. But have we paused to kind of like really reflect on that statement? Are you as a Christian better than a non-Christian in a certain sense? Well, so we're better. But shouldn't our behavior, ethics, and standard of living be higher, therefore better than non-Christians? I used to be bothered by that, but I had to sit back one day. Wait a minute. You think you're better than me? Well, as made in the image of God and as a human being, no, we're all created equal. But in the eyes of God and in our standard of living, you are either in Christ or you're out of Christ. Question, are those in Christ better than those outside of Christ? Again, I'm not talking about in the aspect of us being human beings, but in the aspect of spirituality and in our expectation of our standard of living.
I just feel like
Okay.
growth.
Wait, I'm sorry. April, raise your hand. I'll come back to you, Sister Jones. Go ahead, April.
We are, because all spiritual blessings are in Christ.
Right,
People outside of Christ don't have those spiritual blessings that we do.
right,
That makes us better. And in our walk, in our life, how we live, that represents the glory of God. That's
Yeah.
what people are going to see. The
right,
glory of God.
right. Thank you, April. Sister Jones?
I was gonna say, we're commanded to grow.
Yes, ma'am.
Grow in all of those things. So we're to better, and yes, some of us we are better than, because God has asked us to be like Him.
Yeah.
So God is supreme, so we're
Right.
trying to be just as God is.
Right. The Bible used those terms. That's the one of the running themes of the book of Hebrews. Better than. Christ is better than the angels. Christ is better than Moses. I mean, the point I'm driving home is I look at our society, and we have always been called as children of God to be lights that shine. But brethren, we really need to have moral excellence and kindness, because that is so what's missing. There was an old song that came out some years ago. Dionne Warwick, what the world needs now is what? Okay, well, what the world needs now is what? Kindness. We need for people to display kindness, even in the church. Sometimes, brethren, we don't want to act kind to one another. And that's a shame and a sin before God. So we are to be the light of Christ's world. Remember, Christ said, as long as I am in the world, I am the light. We are to be the light. We are to be reflectors of the morality, of the excellence of God. So just want to look at that in the remaining few moments that we have. So again, let's just do some quick definition. So virtue, habitual and firm character or disposition to do good. Now, shouldn't that be all of us anyway, right? The habitual and firm disposition or desire, character to do good. It comes from a Greek word which means moral goodness, moral excellence. What they used, they said moral excellence. So again, I ask this question again, is there anything wrong with Christians displaying moral excellence? Okay, we better. Yes. Okay, so moral excellence. So a part of that is kindness. Now, brother, again, just think about it. Every day we have opportunities to be kind. And here's another thing. We are kind, but we're not trying to get our own way or applause, right? Like, I'll do good, but I'm not picking on, okay, I won't even go there. But some people will do good only because of what? Yeah, to be seen. Yeah. This kindness is you're doing this and nobody else knows but you and the other person. Now that's a good person who will do kindness. And so there's so many, and then some people, their kindness is seasonal. So what do we mean when he say that their kindness is seasonal?
It's almost like a performance.
Say that again.
Yes, right.
And normally, if it's seasonal, when is that time of the year to be kind to somebody? We just went through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanksgiving and Christmas. And some people only acknowledge their mother on Mother's Day. Only day that they acknowledge their father is on Father's Day. So, but we all know that when we have our moms and dads, that what? Every day is a day to celebrate them. Or some people only get acknowledged on their birthdays. But you can be kind. It's not against the law, civilly. It is not against the law of Christ to be kind every day, is it? So that's a good moral excellence that we should display. Now, kindness, again, I just went to online, Webster. The quality of being friendly, isn't that Christian? Generous, isn't that Christians? And considerate. What does it mean to be considerate?
Giving way to the other person.
Yes, like we do that when we drive on the highway, right? We give way, right? Considerate, kind.
Less accidents.
Yes. Generous. And it comes from a Greek word which means goodness, usefulness. In other words, again, morally excellent in character or demeanor. I started this study last Monday, and just going over it in my head, because, I'm sure Richard has told you this here too. We teach the lessons to ourselves before we teach to you, right? And I have to make sure. I said, man, Kevin, and that's what I say when I talk to myself. I say, Kevin. Or sometimes I say Kev. Or sometimes I say,
You don't answer that, right?
don't worry about that. And I say, am I doing this? That's what you say, Deanna?
I said so.
That's what you say, Deanna? Yes, you do. Okay, but it's okay to talk to yourself at times, right? Guys, that's 2 Corinthians chapter number 13, verse number 5. Examine yourselves to see whether or not you are doing it. And plus, Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter number 9, I don't want to be disqualified because I'm not doing this myself. So ask yourself this question this past week. Did you display the virtue of kindness this past week? And did you have an opportunity? Because I'm pretty sure most of us, we had opportunities, okay? Again, that's kindness. That's a characteristic that is what we're supposed to have as Christians. We're going to get to 2 Peter here, but 2 Peter chapter number 1. But just a thought-provoking question. Did I, and have I had opportunities to display this, and have had opportunities to do this? So with that said, let us now go to 2 Peter chapter number 1. 2 Peter chapter number 1. I only want to highlight verse 5, but let's just read all 7 verses here. But we'll primarily 5 through 7. But can somebody read verse 1 of 2 Peter chapter number 1? Yes, ma'am.
Simon Peter, a bondservant and apostle of Jesus Christ, to those who have obtained the life of faith, with us by the righteousness of our God and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Thank you. Can somebody read verse 2, please?
Grace and peace be multiplied to you in the knowledge of God and of Jesus our Lord.
Thank you. Verse 3?
See that divine power has granted us everything pertaining to the life and godliness through the true knowledge of him who calls us by his own glory and excellence.
Thank you. Verse 4?
Whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these you might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust.
Okay. And then these next verses, people call them the 7 moral excellence or the 7 moral virtues. But again, we're just going to highlight kindness. But anyway, can we read verse 5, please?
But also for this very reason, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, to virtue knowledge, to
Okay.
knowledge self-control, to self-control perseverance, to perseverance godliness, to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness love.
All right, thank you so much, Patrick. Appreciate reading that. Okay. So again, I'm only highlighting today virtue and kindness. But you see that the Bible gives us this imperative command. And I like the word add here because it is a computation term. So it is something that we spiritually, as followers of God, disciples of Christ, children of God, we need to have on display in our character, in our lives. This is not a suggestion, okay? These are not optional matters that God is saying, well, if you ever feel like getting around to it, try to be kind to somebody. So these are things that God says that are indicative, they are characteristics of those who are my people who are called by my name. So kindness is a moral excellence. It's a virtue. It is a good well, all virtues are good. This is a virtue. So therefore, brethren, as I looked at myself too and then look at others, this is something, because brother, I have seen it too much among us. Well, we are just simply not being kind to one another, and that is inexcusable. Any thoughts, comments, questions, confessions? Anything? Because now we're going to put this into application. So again, these are called the 7, but these are things that we need to add to life. Yes, sir, Brother Norris.
Kind of skip through that part, when we come in here.
Right.
How's our behavior supposed to be when we see one another? Didn't expound on showing kindness.
Well, I'm getting through the lesson, so I hope, Norris, that by the time we get to the end, that question has been answered. Thank you. And hold me accountable to that if I don't get to it, okay? All right. Anybody else? Thank you. Man, we only got 15 minutes. Well, Richard started me. He started me 2 minutes late. So, Pat, you're my witness. Okay. Okay, so.
Be sure you didn't exactly get up.
Matthew chapter number 7. Now, we all know this, right? Can somebody read that, please? Matthew 7:12.
Therefore, whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets.
Okay, Matthew chapter number 7 and verse number 12, right? Help, right? You see somebody in need of help, you're going to help, or you're going to be like what happened with the story. What happened? What's the most famous with the Good Samaritan? How many people passed this guy that was wounded? Only one stopped. And they were supposed to be religious people too, but they're like, nah, not me, not today. I'm not helping. It's kind and it's a virtue to follow the golden rule. But, brethren, are we practicing it? Brother Johnny Ramsey used to say probably the most abused text in all of the Bible is Matthew 7:12. Do unto others, you will have them do unto you. So again, that's a moral excellence. It's a part of that. What we need to do as Christians is to be kind, be ready to help one another. So now, the remaining time that I have, Norris, I hope that we can now get to that. Okay, so I just simply call this, and they're connected, but they're not the same. Soul to soul, and then brother to brother, displaying virtue and kindness. Say soul to soul because every human being has what? So that would include everybody in the world, okay? Then brother to brother is specific because that's only to those of like precious faith. It has been said some Christians have treated their non-Christian friends 3 times better than they have treated their own brethren. Have you ever heard that before? Okay. But if I'm going to be consistent, which is what I'm supposed to be as a Christian, then I'm going to not make a distinction. I'm going to treat my brothers in Christ extremely well, as best as I can. And I'm going to treat those outside of Christ well too, because there's a benefit to that as well, because also I can later use it for what? Evangelism. Yeah, evangelism and edification. So I call this the application section now of this study, where we make the application. So how can and I hope this answers, again, Norris, I hope this addresses your question. So as we look at this with virtue and kindness, so now this portion from here on is with us in the family of God, treating one another. So time. So, I learned from my dad this lesson early in life. My father said, whatever a person truly wants to do, they will find or make the time to do it. Is that true? Would you agree with that? Now, that's not Bible, that's Leon Berry, okay? But the principle of it is that I've learned that is true. I've seen that in my secular job, and I've seen that in my ministry. That if you really want to do something, you're going to find the time to do it. I mean, unless you are just have the inability to do it, okay? So let me ask you guys this question. So I got some questions here for you. I don't have them on the screen, but I got them here. So the question is, am I too busy? Am I too busy to visit with a member of the congregation in their home? Am I too busy to go sit with them if they are in a skilled nursing facility? Am I too busy to text or call them, leave a voicemail, letting them know that I am just simply thinking about you? Am I too busy to take another person out to eat, whether it be for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, for the purpose of not only fellowship, but to just get to know them better? Ask yourself this question. Remember, brother, kindness. Am I too busy? And I think to Norris's point, I can add this. Am I too busy when I get here to just go over to somebody and say, hey, good morning, good to see you. Glad you're here. Or I just got to get to my seat because that's my seat. Let me sit in my seat. And if anybody wants to talk to me, they got to come and talk to me. Because I've been in some congregations. And you are a visiting preacher, so we know people have their algorithms where they sit, right? And people have the nerve to say, well, the visiting preacher didn't come talk to me. He didn't come talk to me. Because, you got to go to them. God forbid they come to talk to you. So can I take the time? So with reference to those questions, any thoughts? Am I too busy?
Let me just say that. The atmosphere of the congregation usually is shown through leadership. That's what we're taught. As an older woman, guess what I do? I try to portray those habits no matter where I am, but especially here. Now, when we say coming to the time that we're together, we can be kind to one another. But there's very few times that I visit someone home. There's very few times that they come to my home.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that they're not kind, but are they taking the time? Sure, I'm quite sure, as I do, and most of us do. We pray for one another.
Okay.
But we pray for one another in the realm of this building.
Okay, well, leadership, that could be either right or, that could either be right or, that don't make it Bible. So I'm going to just move past that. Okay.
It's the fact that whether I'm a teacher,
Right.
but I'm not talking about the man leadership. I'm talking about us leading women, older
Okay.
women. We teach younger women, and we should be the examples of
Right, yeah, absolutely. But I'm just saying, look, these questions that I'm asking are irrespective of what congregation you're at, irrespective of what leadership you have. We all have an individual accountability and responsibility. So you can't blame the church, the local church, for you not visiting somebody. That's not on the local church, that's on you. Again, look at this. Am I too busy in my own individual life? So let me make it clear, okay? I won't talk about it in a corporate setting, but I was using Norris's question just to just ask, can I go say good morning to somebody? Some churches, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but some churches force it. Should I use the word force? Because they have a portion in their service where they say, all right, before we start service, everybody get up, and what do they go do? Go greet one another. Because of that very situation, because people weren't doing it, so they were forced to do it. Okay, but if you're forced to do something, is that really sincere? Is that really real? You should do it on your own. You should be doing it on your own. So I'm just asking everybody individual again. James 4, look what James 4, 13, 15, that's the scripture that I have. Also Acts chapter number 2, first century church, they broke bread and they have fellowship. In other words, they took time to do this. James 4 said, come now and say today or tomorrow we shall go into such and such city, spend a year there, buy and sell, make a profit. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even as a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, If the Lord wills, we shall live and do this and live and do that. So, how can virtue and kindness in my own individual life be on display with my time? Now, we have sung the song from time to time in Churches of Christ, take time to be. So why are we singing this song, but in our own individual lives, we're not taking time, because holiness doesn't just stop when I come here, right, at the assembly, right? We all understand it, right? So holiness is, because you can do that here, but holiness is, hey, am I going to do that every day? So that's all. It's meant to be provocative for you. So the next one is, now talent also is ability. So ability to do something. Some of us have a certain skill to do something. Can you be of any assistance with your talent and your ability that you have? Will you avail yourself? Will you allow your talent to be used for the glory of God? So 1 Peter chapter number 4, verse number 10, as each one has received a gift, minister or serve it to one another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. And then we have the example in Matthew 25, 14 through 30 of the parable of talent. So the question is, how can virtue and kindness be on display with me? Am I offering my abilities and talents to the Lord's service here and also in my own individual life? We'll call it a rhetorical question, okay? But that's something for us to consider. Again, some of us are very talented in the Lord's church, and we can use that. But talent also could also be just my ability to make myself available for someone else. And then, I still think I should get those 2 minutes, but talk. Now, let me read you just about talking. And I had to go over this past week. Talking is really underrated. Talking is very important. So talking to one another is vital for human well-being, as, look at this, it boosts happiness, it lowers stress. Some of us have some stress that's kind of high, don't we? Lowers blood pressure and combats loneliness. Engaging in conversations, especially face-to-face, fosters emotional connection, it builds trust, and it provides essential mental relief and aids in good mental health, spiritual health. Spiritual health. Ephesians 4:29, let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but look what he says needs to come out of your mouth. But what is good for necessary building up, edification, that it may impart grace to the hearer. So the Bible was already well ahead of this, okay? So talking is vitally important. And some of you that are married, you know how important talking is, don't you? And communication is. Why are you shaking your head, Chris Poole? He thought I didn't see him. Talk, communication. So at the assembly, part of me being morally endeavoring to be excellent and kind. And you know, what's the difference between talking to someone and talking at someone? What's the difference? One is for learning, one is just for conversation. Which one is the one that we need to be displaying? You know, people could be going to assembly with somebody for 30 years, and you talk to them on Sundays and Wednesdays, but guess what? You really don't. Y'all don't know each other. Have you seen that? I mean, we see each other weekly. We talk like, hey, how you doing? Hi, all right, bye. But do you even know where I live? Do you know my birthday? Do you know my family? Do you know where I work? Now, I'm not saying that, okay, you got to go and do a deep dive on each one here and have a dossier on everybody. But talking is a form of kindness, getting to know someone. So I can be of greater assistance to you when I need to be if you're going through a time in your life. And then there are single people at a congregations. Some people, single people at the congregation are the most loneliest people in the brotherhood. Did you guys know that? Because church is so, and there's nothing wrong with this, but church is so family oriented. About 80% of our activities are family oriented. Okay? So, yes, what about people that have had a spouse and their spouse has died? You think they might need somebody to talk to outside of the assembly? So again, that's just a random act of kindness that we can do. So,
Kevin, you were
yes,
talking
ma'am.
earlier about being forced to, like getting up and in Japan, when we were stationed there, one of the brothers would, at the end of the service, would always say, "Shake hands and be friendly."
Yeah,
And I never took that as being forced.
Right.
It was a reminder
right, right.
that, you know, you need to communicate.
We do.
We need to talk to
We do.
one another. We need to be friendly. to
Right.
each other.
Yeah, we do.
So, yeah, it wasn't a
Right.
forcing thing, it was just I mean, to me, it's,
Right.
I'm sure Pat felt the same.
Yeah.
It was just a reminder.
Just a reminder,
Because,
yes.
yeah, we're busy, we have busy lives.
Yeah. Well, see, that's just it.
That reminder that says, hold on, take a moment
Okay.
and talk and have a relationship with your brother.
Yeah, that's all. Just taking time, just choosing opportunities. So I'm gonna have to wrap this up. So obviously, we're gonna.
3 minutes, didn't you?
No, I got the sign already out high. See, y'all didn't see what I saw out here. So I gotta choose. So we can choose. Can't we? Can't we all choose to be kind? Right. So we choose kindness.
You can choose kindness.
Yeah. Thank you.
You absolutely choose.
Everything we do.
Thank you. Okay. So that's all I'm saying. So let's just make sure that we can focus in on that, and just this week, just make it a point. And it's not gonna be forced, but just make it a point. You know what? I just want to be kind. I just and I don't have to get pat on the back for it or nothing. I just want to make sure that when it comes to making a choice and somebody does something evil to me, what am I gonna be? I'm gonna be kind.